What is up, guys? The LA Gamer here, and today I am bringing you guys episode 3, or aka number 28, of my 30-to-1 rank rebuild on MLB 17 the show. Like I mentioned in previous episodes of this rebuild series, the 30-to-1 rank rebuild is a rebuild series on my channel where I attempt to rebuild rank 30 team all the way to the rank 1 team in the MLB. So obviously I try to make every team at least be a contender at some point. I haven't necessarily made it so that you have to be a champ. You don't have to win the World Series for me to technically consider it a rebuild, as long as you're fairly close, or as long as the roster looks significantly better as it did once before, and as long as you're kind of considered a perennial contender at the point of the time I finish. I feel confident that I rebuilt the team. I don't always have to rely on a World Series win, because baseball is one of those sports where World Series wins doesn't necessarily fully determine success as much as successful seasons, because there's a lot of situations in baseball where a decent team will win the World Series, because baseball is one of those sports where it's very hard to predict a championship team, because so many weird things can happen in baseball. Anyways, in today's episode, we'll be rebuilding the Minnesota Twins. Now, let me put it out there real quick. My throat is a little bit sore, so for those of you wondering why I'm talking a little bit more softly than usual, that's actually the reason why. So, we will be playing as the Minnesota Twins, and it works perfectly for the idea behind today's episode. So I didn't actually intend on putting this episode as part of the 31 rank series, but I wanted to rebuild the Twins and do it this way because they had the number 1 overall pick in the first year player draft, and they happen to be the 28th ranked team. So I figured those two things happen to go hand in hand in a way where it just seemed a little bit too convenient. So let me just hop in here and tell you guys what we're going to be doing. First off, let's turn GM contracts off. Let's make scouting and all this stuff. Yeah, we'll do all that stuff. Anyways, in today's episode, we will be rebuilding a team through the draft. And although you may see players every once in a while, or see YouTube channels where guys rebuild and get a couple players through the draft, and they make good players and good decisions out of that, this is a bit different. We are trying to rebuild basically our whole entire team through the draft. And there's a few guidelines I'm going to follow. So how about we go over those guidelines right now? Guideline number 1. I need to have at least 10 players throughout either my lineup, my pitching rotation, or my bullpen be players that I drafted. That's not ridiculously difficult in theory when you look at how many positions there are, but when you really go and dive into it, the projection of trying to get 10 major league players to peak at the right time to make an MLB championship level roster within the next 5 to 10 years is a very difficult thing to do. You gotta do a lot of projection, you gotta do a lot of successful scouting, and a lot of things really have to fall in your favor. So, with that being the case, one of the first things that we need to do if we're gonna do this is we need to make sure that we get the best scouts possible. Also, something you can expect to see throughout the season, I may not show you guys all the trades, but I expect to see me either trade some of these guys or actually allow some of them to be released or signed and picked up in free agency for the intention of trying to get a compensatory pick, or is that what's called, a compensatory pick? Either way. What I'm trying to do is just try to maximize how many picks I have to maximize my opportunity to actually have a championship team through the draft. So I really need to maximize my opportunities, and one of those ways of doing so is by right here, as you can see, getting some new scouts. So we got a great scout in the West. Now we have a great scout internationally. We don't need 2 scouts in the West. We need an Eastern scout, and this happens to be the best one. So we'll get the Eastern scout. And our Central Scout's not bad, but there's some Central Scouts up here that are real good. Do I want a guy who can get through guys quickly, or a guy that can discover more players for me, is the question. Well, these two guys have great efficiency, so I figured I'd rather find some great players. So we'll get this guy instead of this guy. They're very similar, though. So this is scouts wheel. I know that's a lot of money to do that, but like I said, we don't really need money because we're not going to be signing a lot of free agents. Let's put this in consideration. If we have 10 players that we need to build throughout the draft that we'll be doing in the next few years, we can hypothetically say we'll have probably 6 guys in the lineup, about 3 guys in the bullpen, or 3 guys in the lineup, or in the rotation, maybe like 1 guy in the bullpen. That's kind of how I'll probably intend on doing it. Either way, the idea is I want to do as much drafting and quality drafting as possible, because that's the idea of this. I want to set the bar a little bit lower. I think 10 is a pretty reasonable goal right now, And if I continue to do this in the future, which I'm sure I will, because it's been highly requested out of you guys, we'll start building the scale a little bit higher and higher for how many players I need on my team that need to be drafted by me. Anyways, the way I wanted to edit this is I'm going to sim into the regular season. I know you guys say there's a lot of great free agents to sign here in the off season. If you start, you always get a couple of prospects, but the thing is, I can't really use those guys anyways, so I might as well just not sign them, because like I said, all my pursuits to improve this team have to go through scouting. So I don't want to show you guys all the scouting. That's going to be a little bit monotonous, and be a little bit slow and be kind of hard for you guys to keep up to everything I'm doing. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do all my scouting, and then once the draft is, oh my god, this catcher is amazing, and we have the first overall pick. This will probably catcher would be awesome. But anyways, so I'll do all my scouting, and then once it's about to be draft time, I'll show you guys everybody we scouted, why I like them, and why I'm considering picking them in the upcoming draft. It's not that difficult. It's a pretty quick process, and I'll show you guys a few moves along the way, and I'll show you guys how we build this team. So in the next clip, I will show you guys where we are before the draft. I'll show you guys who we want to get. So I'll see you guys in just a second, right before the draft. Okay guys, we are back. You see, just so you guys know, the draft is on the 1st day of June. So we're about 4 days away. It takes about 5 days for each scouting report to come in. Currently we have 4 scouting reports that we just started. So we'll spend like 3 days to get a better idea on each of those players. Let's look at them real quick, just so I can get a full idea of all the players I'm looking at. These two guys look pretty good. Okay, so here's the situation. This wasn't a very great draft class, and those happen every once in a while, but to give you guys an idea of why this was a bad draft class, look at the ETAs. So for those of you who don't know, an ETA is when the player is expected to arrive to the major leagues. And if we're going through here, we got a few guys in 2018, a few guys in 2019, a few guys in 2020, and everybody else is 2021 plus. Usually you get a pretty good selection out of guys who will be in the league in the next few years, but not in this draft, not very many. Those who are, we got this guy Andy Linder, who I like a lot, a shortstop that I'll probably get. Great contact, great fielding, pretty good speed, good stealing, good reaction, good arm accuracy. He's what you want from a shortstop, so I might end up getting him. This Jake Sadler guy too also is supposed to be in the league in 2020. He's a great hitter for a third baseman. Not a great fielder, but he's got good arm strength. He can play the field, so he'll be a manageable third baseman. We also found some closers that are pretty good. We got Lee Bong, Ernest Brandon. So we found some closers, but those aren't really, those aren't like a quality position. Outside of that, really all we got are some of these blue chip prospects that are basically the only exciting parts of this draft. We got one phenomenal blue chip prospect in this guy, Andreas Vasquez, who, based off his stats, would be one of the best hitters in any draft, and he's also a catcher, and that's a very rare combination of player. And so, because of that, there's really nothing preventing me from drafting him with that first overall pick. His injury risk is low as well. He fits everything I need as a catcher, except he's not the greatest fielder, he's not the greatest arm strength, but his hitting as a catcher makes me want to get him regardless. There's some starting pitchers too who are phenomenal. Some of these guys, trust me, I've looked closely at them. Some of these starting pitchers are ridiculous. But there's great starting pitchers every single draft. To find a catcher like this is very, very rare. So he's the first overall pick in my mind. So we're probably going to get him with the first pick. And then with the second round pick, if we're looking through, I'll probably end up getting Sadler or Linder. Although they're not the highest potential guys, I'm assuming, that's only assuming all the blue chip prospect guys are gone by then. These guys are the most reliable prospects because they're guaranteed to be in the league within the next couple of years, so we have a better idea of how good they'll be, and their potential is not low. 75 is still a very high potential. On a 2080 scale, it's well above average to elite, so they'll still be in the high 80s or mid to high 80s, or even if they're in the low 80s, that's still a good player if they fill out their potential. Then we found some guys who have some late draft potential, but they have 80 potential, so we might end up drafting them after that just to really fill out some potential in our lineup. But that's about it. Outside of that, there's really not a whole lot of star quality. You guys will see us go in the draft right now, and I'll kind of show you who I found. But I've done this once before. I did this 2 days ago, but it didn't save, so I did a lot of rebuilding through the draft. So let me just promise you guys right now, if things go as well as they did a couple of days ago, things will get a whole lot more interesting. because when a really good draft class comes along, a lot of crazy stuff will happen. So first pick, at least since we have the first pick, we'll get one very good player, and this will be Andreas Vasquez. I believe he is the obvious #1 overall selection in this situation. Then with the second pick, if we're looking at just guys that we fully scouted, Linder is still there. So is Sadler. So it comes down to a decision between Linder and Sadler, and I'm coming to the conclusion that due to their overalls and difference there and expected time until they make the league, I think Andy Linder is the better selection. If we get lucky, no, Jake Sadler was just taken 7th overall in the second round, so Sadler will not be there for our 3rd round selection. But I mean, you win some, you lose some. And then outside of that, not a whole lot of guys that we have full scouts on that ended up being all that good. So we might end up actually just guessing on a player here. There's some players here that if we guess on them, their ETAs are a little bit earlier. We weren't able to scout them, so we didn't scout these specific positions. There's some pretty decent catchers. So we'll take a guess on this catcher because he's got a low ETA and he's got 80 potential. If we get 2 phenomenal catchers, I have no complaints against that. The more the merrier, honestly. So with our next pick, let's take a guess on our reliever. Maybe we'll get lucky. I wouldn't mind working on that bullpen a little bit, obviously. Obviously that kind of counts for part of our rebuild. So that's 5 players. I don't really know anybody else I need to sign, because everybody else probably won't even make an impact after that 5th round. So when we go to sign draft picks, we actually got lucky on this reliever, 88 potential. So we got one solid reliever. We got that other catcher panned out, 85 potential. Andy Linder kind of panned out, 81 potential. And Andreas Vasquez definitely panned out at 92 potential. So he'll be like a pretty star quality catcher with phenomenal hitting, just not the greatest fielding. And then we could probably sign this reliever too. And these guys really aren't that bad either. They just won't be all that good. But I might as well sign them because if things go to shit, I might as well have as many players that I've drafted as possible. So here's a look at the list just so you guys remember who I drafted, so you guys aren't confused once we actually get to the point where we're going to make a team out of them. So that'll be about it for the season. We're not going to make any big moves, so we'll go into the offseason, then we'll discuss every move we made, and I'll see you guys soon. Okay guys, here we are in free agency. So if you guys are confused about what happened in the season, I'll let you guys get a quick recap. Most of it's already gone, but I'll just tell you guys what happened. We ended up going 80 and 82 for some reason. I don't know exactly how we clutched that one out. But an 80 and 82 season, which will place us kind of middle of the pack for the next year's draft, which kind of sucks a little bit because it's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to have the top pick, and us not having the top picks really decreasing our chances of rebuilding this team. So I don't want to sign any quality free agents. I will in a couple of years once obviously we got the team that we need to build. But I need to trade a few big guys away probably to make sure that there's no more situation where I'm stuck winning too many games. So prospect, there we go. Realize that this is kind of something we have to do. We kind of have to throw away this team. Nobody wants him. This team really shouldn't be all that good. This team's pretty awful. And Santana's going to decline, so it's not a big deal. So we don't want to sign any of these guys. I signed everybody else, so my team should be good. We got a coach that should be signing here pretty soon. Please tell me he does end up signing here. Oh, he did. Yeah. So we got that team. So I'm gonna just send this off season. It's not a big deal, like I said. Not much is gonna happen. Oh, sure, you're gonna trade me a prospect for nothing. I don't mind that. The Rule 5 draft. It looks like we will have the 13th pick the next year. Then 13th pick. This is where we'll kind of get an idea. No good players to get in the Rule 5 draft. So 13th pick is what we can be expecting here for next year's pick. And that's not that good, but I'm sure we can work with it. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Towards draft time, once again, towards me scouting some more prospects, and I'll tell you guys what my draft idea is. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, guys, here we are towards the second season draft. Now, once again, not necessarily a talented draft, but there is one specific position that's got a lot of talent to it, and that position will be starting pitcher. So that's actually a really good position to be in. Take a look at the starting pitchers here. So we got an 80 potential. Oh, there's a blue chip prospect, so we probably won't get him, but look at potential guys. We got this guy, 80 potential, Espinoza. We have, I'm looking at ETAs. These guys have 80 potential too, but their ETAs are too late, so I probably won't draft them. Just so you guys know, I'm only mentioning these guys. Gerald Bowman, Freddie Waldron, Roy Spain, Gerald Bracken. We have like 5 guys we can get here with 80 potential. Let's just say we get lucky and get 2 of those guys. Those are 2 possible aces in the future. Plus the closers we scouted last year apparently took a year off and played another year overseas. And a couple of those guys are Lee Bong, Brandon, and William Du. So if we happen to get a hand on one of those guys, that'd be awesome as well. Then we look at position players. Not a whole lot of talent out here. I feel like there's 1 or 2 guys. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so maybe not. No, maybe not. Okay, so literally this whole draft will probably go into pitching if we have the chance. That's really where all the potential was. I don't know what exactly happened. But mainly just busts or guys with way too long of ETAs here in the outfield and other positions. So it'll probably be one of those drafts where we just get a lot of pitching. And just start working on that part of our team. So I figured while we're doing this, I also want to show you guys what's been going on for some of our players that we've drafted previously. So I'm sure that's something you guys want to be informed of, considering that these guys are supposed to be the future of the franchise. First off, Andreas Vasquez is now currently the 3rd overall prospect. He was, of course, was the #1 overall pick last year, our catcher that we drafted. Here's a look at how his stats have been increasing pretty steadily, pretty quickly. He's already a 76 overall at only 20 years old. He's our best catcher, but we're keeping him at AAA, letting him develop a little bit. Obviously, we're not trying to rush anybody, especially considering that, well, we got plenty of time, and we're not a playoff team, so why not just let him get some time to work on his stats. In AA, he batted like 360. So I was like, yeah, it's probably time to call you up. So now in AAA, he's batting 279. So he's still tearing the ball up in AAA, and that's kind of why we got him. Obviously, we got him because he was a phenomenal hitter, and he was a catcher. It's a great combo to have. So moving on, some other positions where we got some talent was shortstop. We got Andy Linder. We just recently called him up to AAA as well. He was on AA, and he was batting, I think, 293. And I was like, that's a pretty great stat line. That's a really high average for AA. So why not try calling him up to AAA? So we called him up to AAA, and now he's batting 290 in AAA. So this dude's killing it. So far, both of these prospects have been awesome for us. And then the other guy we have is our relieving pitcher, I think. That's the other guy we got. That was not Trevor May. We got... Who was that we drafted? We drafted a relieving pitcher. Bobby Hernandez, who has 6-4 with a 2.65 ERA and a 1.14 whip. I actually checked his stats earlier, and they were a little bit better. He was like a 1.4 ERA, but still, that's an awesome ERA for a first-year pitcher in AA. And he's 22 years old, so he has time to develop. I think he'll be a great pitcher. 6-4 record, middle relieving pitcher. I think he can get called up here in a few years, and he'll be a great pitcher for us too. So I'm actually really happy. And he had a really late ETA too, so I guess sometimes those late ETAs actually work out for you. So maybe I'll have to take that into consideration. And yeah, the draft is on the 7th. We have the 13th pick. Now I also want to show you guys standings. We purposely, obviously, are throwing the season away so we can have a #1 overall pick. But we still won't probably have it because the Padres are still worse than us, and the Reds and Braves are pretty close. So we're looking at probably a top 5 pick next year, guaranteed. But I'm still looking for a top 3 pick regardless of any of that. So send through here. Go to draft, and here we are looking at the 13th pick, and Bracken and Ballman both got taken. So I'm looking at likely getting a lot of the players I like getting taken. That's what happens when you only have the 3rd pick though. But anyways, we still have a lot of talent here. You see, we have Freddie Waldron, we have Roy Spain, and we have Alfonso Espinoza. So here's the tough situations. I don't know exactly who's supposed to have the highest potential here, and who's supposed to be the best player. So So I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to compare these players. It's kind of a tough thing to do. How they expect me to compare 3 guys who have great potential. First off, let's compare. Well, we can look at this. So we'll just go here and we'll look at all their stats in comparison. Well, Jones, Spain, and Espinoza. Stamina-wise, they all have the same stamina potential. Hit 9. But we're looking at this. Sometimes they're incorrect, but these look to be right. So Walt Jones is the best on this one. K9, it's kind of mixed. Walk 9, more Spain and Espinoza. Home run 9. So far, I think the lead has to go to Espinoza. But Espinoza doesn't have the same velocity as these 2 guys. These 2 guys have crazy velocity. But then this thing says he won't have that much velocity, so I don't really know. I don't know what to believe sometimes. Sometimes the velocity is not right. Same with the break. These parts are the part that I don't think are actually accurate. Roy Spain has crazy break, though. I think Spain might be the best pitcher out of all of them, to be honest. Something in my heart is telling me to go Spain. I can't explain it, but I think we have to go with Roy Spain here. If we're lucky, might have a chance to another one of those pitchers here in the next round. And we will. Espinoza will still be there. But we'll also... Okay, Goldsmith. Yeah, no. Espinoza's the way to go. So we got 280 potential starting pitchers here in the first 2 rounds of the draft. It's exactly what I was talking about. If we can get 2 quality pitchers like that, I would be stoked. And, of course, we got lucky and we're able to do that. So, now is kind of a crapshoot and see if we can get lucky. Maybe we'll get lucky with a third baseman. That guy has great hitting stats and he's an early potential player. And that's kind of what we do now. We just see if we get lucky because there's not really any way of knowing if any of these guys will pan out. This guy looks good. Try to just get one more starting pitcher. Like I said, no way of knowing if these guys will pan out. I'm just trying to have fun, seeing how some young guys will be able to do. I actually had a lot of fun checking how our rookies did in AA and AAA. I had a lot of fun looking at that, funny enough. I thought that was really interesting. Seeing how those guys perform. And they're actually performing really well. So I've had a lot of fun with this rebuild through the draft. I think it's been really fun. It's only been 1 season, so I'm having a lot of fun. I think this could be something I do a lot more of in the future. Obviously, if you guys are enjoying it. So 6 rounds. Like I said, I usually only go 5 or 6 rounds. And we got 3 solid pitchers. Spain only got an 88 potential, and Espinoza got a 90. So I actually guess Espinoza was going to be better than Spain. So maybe my gut feeling was actually wrong. In fact, it actually appears that way. But the velocity on Spain is ridiculous. So I don't know if I can trust the break or anything. So none of that stuff is really correct. That third baseman was good, but we got another good starting pitcher here with 87 potential. So we got 3 quality starting pitchers. Oh my goodness, they got a 99 potential center fielder. Holy shiitake. Anybody else that's notable? A good draft. I mean, I'm more impressed by teams that get a really good high potential player that also is a high overall. Bauman was another guy we're gonna get, but he had only an 88 potential. So, no, we're actually really lucky to get all these players. So that's what the draft is gonna look like. We're gonna move on now into free agency and all that good stuff, and I'll show you guys what happens there. Okay, guys, the second season is at an end, and I would like to show you guys a quick look at some of the advancements that some of the players on my team have made. Now, something I want to emphasize: Andreas Vasquez is now the second best player on my team. Let's just look at his increases. He's gotten 11 points better in contact righty, 14 points better in contact lefty, 6 points better in both power lefty and power righty. I mean, just look at all these stats. He got so much better in every area. An 82 overall now. It's only 20 years old as a catcher. Buxton got a lot better. Obviously, we didn't draft him, but that's another good news is that we got some more potential there on our team. And then Andy Linder, the shortstop that we drafted, is up to a 77 overall. And you see, not a huge increase in a lot of his stats, but a plus 10 in contact for his lefty. So he's still going to be a pretty good contact hitter, it looks like. And then when we look at relieving pitchers, because it's just who we can look at so far, Bobby Hernandez, the relieving pitcher, a pretty decent increase in his overall, going up to a 69. So I wanted to show you guys their stats in AA and AAA, but it said their season ended. I was like, okay, well, I'll just keep simming. And then I realized you really can't look at those stats ever again because they just never show you minor league stats. which I apologize for. I did mess that up. I will be more aware of that in the future, and when those seasons end, I'll do more emphasis on showing you guys those stats before that season ends. 'Cause I know that's probably a big deal. That's probably something you guys want to look at. But either way, I just wanted to real quick throw out Vasquez is so good, man. But the season just ended. You see, we went 63 and 99, good enough to put us, I think, with the 3rd overall pick. Yeah, 3rd overall pick behind the Reds and Padres. They just had awful seasons, I swear. The 3rd overall pick is definitely like workable with, for me especially, because I've been doing pretty good with my drafts. What I've been thinking about is I've gotten 3 quality players in the past 2 drafts. I got 3 starting pitchers this year, and the year before that I got obviously a catcher, a shortstop, and a relieving pitcher. And at that pace, we could be looking to, I want to give him more money though. And you guys might think, oh, why would I give him more money than I have to? Oh, man, that might be dumb. Yeah, it might be dumb. I might as well utilize him for a year on a low-end contract. But the only reason I want to give him more money is because I know that when he gets signed to the major leagues, he'll be all pissed off because his money. He'll be like, "Oh, I'm not making enough money." That's just what I know will happen. Okay. Anyways, I'm not gonna worry about that. So I need to sign all these guys. So I'm gonna sign all of them to contracts, and I'll be back in just a second once we signed all of them. And we'll start working towards the next draft. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, guys. We are in the off season. I actually simmed a few days accidentally past when the free agency opens, and we signed basically everybody we need to sign, but we have a lot of money, I have to assume, because we haven't really been signing anybody. And usually I wouldn't do this so early, but Manny Machado's on the board, 26 years old. I think if we do a rebuild, I'd like to have him at 3rd base, even though we have Sano, just because he's that good. Give him a player option. He'll be a star player. Give him a huge contract. I think we should be able to afford just one huge contract. Yeah, we will be able to afford that. If he signs, that'd be awesome. I know that's unlikely. He has. Okay, we have Manny Machado now. A huge contract, I know, but we'll have him until about 36 years old. So we can build around him as one of the guys. Obviously, I only need 10 players in my lineup to be oh my God, man, Miguel Sano's power is just going in the high 90s. I only need 1 player to be, or not 1 player, I only need 10 players to be actually players I draft. I'm sorry, I messed that up so many times over and over. I was not focusing. Sano, we're going to change to a first baseman to avoid any confusion between these 2 players. So we have Sano at first base, and now Machado at 3rd base. Vasquez is catcher, and look, when you look at our pitching rotation, we already have some stars on here. Roy Spain, already a top 50 prospect. Alfonso Espinosa, already a top 50 prospect. And who was the last guy we drafted? Was it Hammock? I think it was Hammock. Yeah, I think it was Hammock. So that's a look, and then that's exactly all we're going to do in free agency, because that's all we need is a Machado. That's an awesome player. So let's go into the next season, and I'll see you guys once the draft comes around once again, and let's try to get some more players and turn this into a championship team. Okay, what is up, guys? Here we are towards the middle of season 3. Now, I have to be honest, our record has not been that much better since signing Machado. We're now at 13 and 33, and when looking at standings, you will see us as the worst team in the league. So, not been a huge upgrade from having Machado. We're actually, oh my God, we need to put Vasquez. Okay, Vasquez needs to go to the major leagues. I didn't do it yet. I wanted to give him some more time to develop there in the minors, and I wanted you guys to see what he's doing. But I think it's time to call him up. Look at him batting 350 in AAA. 350 in AAA. Yeah, no, it's time. Just wanted to show you guys his stats real quick. 9 home runs, 123 at-bats, 350 batting average. Welcome to the show, kid. Oh, almost welcome to the show, kid. Now welcome to the show, kid. Now I think we might have a bit too many guys in our 40-man. Yeah, there goes CC Sabathia. We don't need him. We traded for him a while ago, if you guys are curious why he's on our team. It was something to free cap space. It's a long story. But, anyways, Manny Machado actually has not been that good for us, batting 243 this season. Understandable. He's probably having a pretty tough time transitioning to our team, considering we haven't been all that good. Oh my goodness, so many quirks. Or quirks, I don't know how you would say that word. That word is such a pain in the ass for me. But and everybody else that we have, Linder's not had a quality year in AAA. Batting 218, so the call-up for him might have to be waited on. Even though he's better than Polanco at this point. He's 21 years old. Maybe calling up could get him out of his slump. I guess we can try it. This guy will move him out of the 40-man roster. We don't need 3 guys in the 40-man roster and shortstop. Which means, obviously, yeah, he'll go down to AAA. And when we look at our Major League roster, we need to make some edits. So, first off, no, you're not playing second base. A Linder can actually play second base. Who's playing shortstop then? Okay, Polanco. This makes more sense this way. I like Vasquez batting 5th. I think he's kind of earned that spot. Obviously, he hasn't had an at-bat yet, but he is such a good swinger. Or such a good hitter. Swinger's a weird way of putting... of calling a batter. So batting 5th, I think, is appropriate for him. I'm not going to worry too much about all this good stuff and where these guys are going to bat and working around the lineup. I don't really want us to be all that great. Yeah, I just want to see how these guys do in the majors. And lastly, we got one we move him to... Oh, God, I did it again. I moved Vasquez second base. Here we go. And lastly, what I want to do is... Well, now we need to check some other guys. We got a lot more prospects now. For starters, let's look at top prospects. Vasquez is now the #1 overall prospect in baseball at the time that we just called him up. We have the number 4 prospect in baseball, Jason Groom. However, he does not count for our franchise because he was not drafted by us. He was already on this team. But Alfonso Espinoza was drafted by this team. He is the 15th ranked top 50 prospect. He actually fractured his forearm, though. That's too bad. Then we have Roy Spain here at quite a bit lower at 36, but still a top prospect nonetheless. So let's take a look at how these guys are doing. Moving down a little bit to starting pitchers. Let's see. Espinoza, 1-1 with a 2.41 ERA. He only looked like he had 2 or 3 starts until he fractured his forearm. So hard to get a full dictation of how good of a season he's had. It also affected his progression a little bit, but that's all right. It happens every once in a while. And Roy Spain, 4-1. So a great win-loss, but the 5.89 ERA is a bit high. He is in AAA as a 19-year-old though, so I'm not gonna count him out just yet. That's a pretty tough situation to be put in so young in your career. And the other guy we got was Hammock, right? 3-1 with a 2.72, so a pretty phenomenal pitcher here. And I'm hoping he pans out too. The relieving pitcher we have, this is the last guy we need to look at, was, who was it? Bobby Hernandez. 3-1 with a 2.31, so he's actually been doing great. Let's give him a chance, not on the MLB, in AAA. And we'll move this guy down to AA. Okay, there we go. He's been playing great. So there's some call-ups and some switch rounds we're going to do with those players. The cool thing about having a situation where all I have to do is focus on the guys I drafted is it keeps me from having to do too much management. I just need to focus on the guys that I drafted. But either way, the draft actually is coming up here on the 6th, I think. We have the number 3 overall pick. I'm not going to go too much into the scouting, but once again, it's been one of those years where most of the quality prospects have been at the pitching position. So the number 1 guy I noticed is Jackie German. He is projected to be in the MLB within about 2 years, but he's only 18 years old and he's a lefty. Kind of reminds me of a Julio Urias, and he's only 18. I think I already said that. He's 18 years old, lefty. Reminds me of Julio Urias, primarily because he's so young and so good at such a young age. Obviously, that's a hefty expectation, but that's just kind of what that impression gives me, and he's a lefty. We got another great pitcher here, Miguel Villa. Then the blue chip prospect here, Claude Tejera, obviously is phenomenal. So there's just some really good prospects here. A starting pitcher that there's like 2 or 3 solid ones that I would love to get. With the 3rd pick, I'm sure I can get at least one of them, and then maybe I'll get lucky with the second one. Maybe Villa or Villa, I don't know how you would say his last name. Maybe he'll be there in the 2nd round for me if I'm lucky. And then outside of that, we got some closers still. Lee Bong and Brandon and Du still did not still did not declare for the draft. I don't know if that's just a glitch and they'll just never be drafted. So I'm just not going to really pay attention to them anymore. Then outside of that, the number 3 overall pick, if we have the choice, I think we'll have to go to this guy. Kenny Fiore. A 5'9" lefty right fielder. Doesn't look that crazy good, but when you just look at his height and all that good stuff. But projected to be in the MLB in 2 years or so, just like the pitcher that I showed you. The only difference is he's 4 years older, so it might make you think I should get the pitcher. But I feel like we already have a lot of great pitching prospects coming up that we drafted in last year's draft. And this guy has phenomenal contact, phenomenal power potential, and 80 speed already. So if he lives to have that contact and power and he already has 80 speed, he could look to be a very, very good player. In fact, a little right fielder like that with stats like that, you may be looking at a Mookie Betts type of player. So I wouldn't mind having a Mookie Betts out there in right field. I definitely would not mind having a Mookie Betts out in right field. And that's kind of what he reminds me of. So if he's there with the 3rd pick, I'm going to have to give myself a guy that reminds me of Mookie Betts. So go to the draft, number 3 overall pick. And Claude Teixeira, that pitcher I talked to you guys about, he will be taking number 1 overall. Number 2 overall will be this guy. Not a great pick. He's got a really late ETA, but a good pick there from the Reds, getting Claude Teixeira. I think that was a good pick. Not the guy I would have gotten. Because I'm between Jackie German and Fiore. And I know it's a tough pick because it's really, really between those two. But I think pitching's a lot easier to find than a quality hitter. I mean, think about it. The past 2 years, we've gotten like 3 quality pitching prospects. We've only gotten maybe 2 quality hitting prospects, and one of them was our catcher, and look how good he is now. So I think we need to go with the quality hitting prospect, the blue chip prospect, Kenny Fiore. And if we get lucky, let's check pick by pick. Nope, Jackie German will go to the Boston Red Sox. So the Red Sox just found themselves... Whoa, where's our... Oh, I forgot. We signed Manny Machado. Our 2nd round pick is gone. Our 3rd round pick is still there though, but still... Yeah, that's going to mess us up quite a bit. Oh, I should have thought about... Okay, Manny Machado though was worth it more than any of the players I could have gotten. Plus the starting pitcher I wanted was... Harvey... Was that him? No, who was the other starting pitcher I wanted? McGovey, he was already taken long before that, so there wasn't a lot of players left. So I guess I'll let it be. So now it's just, like I said, it's kind of a guessing game at this point. No more signing big prospects though. Let's not try to screw ourselves over like that anymore. Oh my god, this guy could be a great left fielder if he ended up being half as good as those stats said. It gave him 80 contacts and 80 powers. Obviously, he'll probably be a bust because that's usually how those players are, but I will take the risk. And then I'm just going to keep drafting hitters because maybe I'll get lucky. This guy's got great fielding. Look at him, Geraldo Lopez. We already have a pretty good infield though, so it may not be the best idea to draft a 3rd baseman, considering we have Manny Machado playing 3rd base right now. So we'll get a pitcher now. 19 years old. Lefty pitcher out of Cuba. I'll get him. Take a risk. If you're going to take a risk on a prospect, at least have him be a foreign prospect. Sometimes those guys get lucky. Because they're not highly touted and they're not usually seen by a lot of players. This guy's 24 years old. That's the only reason I won't get him. We'll get Sam Marquez. And he'll be taking it. It looks like he was taking the next pick. So the draft has come to an end. And Kenny Fiore is a 96 overall. So he ended up being the perfect pick. And we got lucky with a few other players. This guy ended up being an 89 overall. This catcher ended up being an 86 overall. This draft, we actually had to guess quite a few players. But it's going to end up working out really well for us. And Fiore ended up being obviously the best player. He is ridiculously good. Maybe the highest potential in the draft. Even the 1st overall pick, or the 2nd overall pick, who had a really late ETA. Yep, Kenny Fiore was the best player in the draft, it looks like. I want to look real quick. The Red Sox got the other player I was going to get. I didn't look closely. Let's see how good he ended up being. Red Sox. 86 overall. So I thought he could have been really good, but he actually ended up being a little bit of a bust. Not really a bust, but not as good as I hoped he would be. So, we're going to spend a couple of months. I'm going to show you guys the minor league stats updated stats of a few of our players, and I'll show you guys how they do, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, here we go, guys. Towards the end of Season 3, obviously we got about a month left in the MLB season, but the AAA and AA season is coming to an end right now, so I figure it's about time that we show you guys a few of the stats for the minor league players that we have. So, first off, in AA, I'm going to try to see if I remember these guys. I think most of them are in AAA already, actually. We have... No, let me do it through this way. It'll be a lot easier for me. Espinoza, who pitched 9-6 with a 2.6 ERA, so he bounced back from that fractured forearm to have a very, very good end of the season. I mean, a 9-6 record with a 2.6 ERA, that's phenomenal. Great year for him. Next up, we have Roy Spain, 9-8 with a 5.0 FAR, so still a pretty nice win-loss record, but over 5 ERAs got a little bit cause for concern. We'll probably have to keep him down there in the minor leagues for a couple more years until he's ready to go, at least as long as his ERA is that high. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Next up, Eric Hammock, 7-9 record with a 3.48 ERA, so the record's a little bit worse than Spain's, but the ERA is quite significantly better. So that's definitely workable. The next, we're going to look at Bobby Hernandez, who went 1-2, 3.44 ERA and 1.18 WHIP since we upgraded him to AAA, or promoted him, I guess you could say. But still, a 3.44 ERA in AAA. And yeah, no, I'm not upset at all about that. He's still good enough to hopefully be the leader of our bullpen here in a couple of years. Then we keep moving on. Vasquez, almost a 90 overall already. Look at his hitting stats. Just look at his hitting stats. His contact versus lefty went up +10 once again. Andreas Vasquez, we could be having a future Hall of Famer on our team right now. Just look at those hitting stats. I mean, I'm freaking out. He finished the season 270, 15 home runs, 8 stolen bases. 8 stolen bases as a catcher is like ridiculous. He's not even that fast. He just has a lot of aggressiveness. But yeah, his hitting stats are going to be through the roof. If he continues this pace, his hitting stats are going to be like in the 90s for everything. And for a catcher, that's crazy. He's about to be the best hitting catcher the league has seen in quite a while, since Posey or Mao or one of those guys. First base, we got Miguel Sano, who bat 308, 30 home runs, 78 RBI. Not a lot of RBI, but probably not a lot of RBI opportunities. Machado did alright. Andy Linder, in his rookie season, 260 batting. That's not bad. I don't mind 260. His stats are still getting a lot better, especially in power, it looks like. And outside that, he's becoming more of an all-around player, and he's still got great fielding and great speed, so you can't really teach that. Or not speed, but great base running abilities, and you can't really teach that. Well, I guess you can teach base running abilities. Okay, well, never mind everything I'm saying. So that's a quick look at the players that we got, and then the draft picks, obviously. We'll have to wait and see how these guys pan out. But I'm very excited for next year, because Calzado will be a great lefty for us, I think. 19 years old, 89 potential. He's going to be really good. Fiore, obviously, I'm stoked for. That guy's going to be phenomenal. And these guys have really early projections into the major leagues too. So, I mean, these guys are going to be good. Like, they are. I already know. So, I'm really excited. Especially for this guy, Fiore. He's going to be maybe even better than Vasquez, which is obviously a lot to say right now. But Vasquez only has 92 potential. So, we may see him actually drop off pretty big after this next year. We might see him max out his potential at only 22 years old, which is still awesome that he's progressing so early. But we may see the end of his increase in overall. So that's a quick little look at the stats. We still have a month left in the season, though, for the major league. So we're going to sim through this, and we're going to take one last look at some of the major leaguers, aka Linder and Vasquez, and see how they finish the season. Looks like our AA team actually won the championship. Is that what it said? Yeah, they did. Awesome. Good for them. Technically, I guess if the AA wins the championship, does that mean I rebuilt the team? It does, right? I'm done. So because we won those last games, we're going to move down to, once again, the 3rd overall pick. Probably wouldn't have changed anything anyways. Actually, it would have. We probably would have had the #1 overall pick. Anyways, what I was saying is... Yeah, I was going to say we're going to look at the stats once again. So, let's look. Major leagues, we got Vasquez, who finished 281 batting average. Oh my, he's a 92 overall now. His overall's going up so quick. Now look at his stats. Okay, this is just craziness. As a catcher, this is just absolute craziness. Linder went up to a 79 overall. Finished the season batting 266. I mean, that's just awesome. And Vasquez has 18 home runs and 370 at-bats. Give him 500 at-bats. He could be a 30 home run hitter next season. He might already be Rookie of the Year, and he only played like half a season. Yep, he's Rookie of the Year, and he only played half a season. So this is what I'm saying. We have some star players. And now looking at the top prospect list, it still doesn't look like it's updated that much for our team. We still have Roy Spain at 32. And Espinosa moved up to 12. So if those guys can move up to, I don't know, top 20s, that'd be pretty cool. So we'll have the number 3 pick. We'll move on to the offseason. I think I'm just going to re-sign my players, though. So I don't think we can just move on to the next year's draft. I don't think anything's going to happen this offseason. So I'll just see you guys in the next year's draft. Because we'll just re-sign players this year. It'll just kind of look like the same team. So I don't want to give up another big pick. So I'll see you guys next year towards the season 4 draft, I think it is. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, hello guys. Once again, moving on here into another year. I believe we're on season 4 now. It's actually crazy thinking how far along we've actually gone through all of this. So I don't know why I'm looking at this right now. Anyways, we're going to look at some things that we've been doing this year pretty good. So our record's not really reflecting much talent right now, as we still have one of the worst records in the league. But if you look at team stats, it looks like we have a few team rankings where we're first. We're the Twins, so let's see, anything? Assists, grounds, and double plays, so I guess our middle infield's been pretty good defensively. And we're leading the league in stolen bases, so we got speed. And that's the person leading the league in stolen bases for us, and he might be the league leader, actually. The second person in league leading stolen bases in our league and third overall in the MLB will be Andy Linder, the guy obviously we drafted at shortstop a few years ago. Then Vasquez having a decent year, 276 batting average. Not really, like I said, I didn't think his stats were going to get a lot better because he kind of already hit his potential. So not a huge upgrade offensively like I was hoping for. In fact, he's kind of remained neutral, kind of average. Miguel Sano's batting great. Manny Machado's actually leading off, batting close to 300, so he's doing good in that position. Currently we have, let's see, we have Linder, Vasquez. So far we still only have 2 guys, I think, out of the 10 that we need. Espinosa's doing good down here in AAA, so is Roy Spain's doing decent. The ERA is still so high. And Hammock's ERA through the roof right now, too. And AA, I believe we drafted this guy, Calzado. He's doing alright, 3-3, 4.4 or 4.5 ERA. He's doing alright. And then, who's some other I know we got some players. What are some other notables that we got? Fiore's batting 269 with 6 home runs. So he's only doing decent, actually. I thought he was going to be phenomenal. It's the number 3 overall prospect. So he went up to top prospect really quick. Espinosa's number 5 prospect. I just need these guys to develop. That's really all I need. Roy Spain's at 31. Oh, Sean Newcomb. He actually played for the Angels, so I got excited. Okay. We need to get lucky. So now we did some scouting. The draft's going to be up in... It's on the 4th, so in like 5 days. We did all the scouting we needed to do. And once again, a lot of pitching, not a lot of anything else. We got this Kenny Salas guy. We got Kurt Meyer, Doug Martinez. We got a few pitchers. Not a whole lot, actually. Some closers, but I actually traded for a closer while the sim was going on. We got this guy. Where is he? This guy, Edwin Diaz. He's not playing closer for some reason. Let's fix that. I traded one of the catchers we drafted a few years ago for him. He developed pretty good. I don't know if you guys remember who it was, but we got some catcher who actually ended up being pretty good. And I was like, well, obviously we don't need him because we got Andreas Vasquez. So I just ended up trading him. And we actually got some talented closer, which is what we needed. So I was happy about that. But outside of that, not a whole lot going on in this draft. Really, just not a whole lot going on. Third baseman's only decent. I mean, just not a very strong draft class. I guess I'll scout a few more guys, but even then, just... Oh, we got a left fielder. Some guys pop up really late in the draft thing, so I gotta look at these guys real quick. Oh my goodness, some guys are actually popping up, and they're pretty good. Now I feel like I was talking too soon, but no. Once again, it doesn't look like a very strong draft class. I just need a draft class where I can get some hitters. That's really all it is. I just don't have any batters. Oh, you know what I should do? Forgot to do this. We'll double scout this guy, so we can have a full scouting report on him at least. Go to draft, 3rd overall pick. This guy's gonna be taken 1st overall, Scott Medler. Not really concerned about them taking him. That's not who I would have gotten. 2nd pick, Chad Putnam. Also not a guy. I mean, look at these guys. They got such late MLB ETA. It's just not a very good draft class. I really have not been that lucky in this series in terms of getting some quality draft classes. We can get a really nice closer here. That's where you know it's a bad draft class when you're considering getting a closer this early in the draft. We can get a really nice left fielder. His ETA is pretty late though, but he's got 60 overall, 80 potential. So he'd probably be in the low 60s overalls. So he wouldn't be awful. Just a pretty late ETA, which is something I usually try to avoid, as you guys probably are well aware of. So far, the best guy looks like Kurt Meyer. But he's the starting pitcher, or we can get the left fielder, who probably has a higher potential. No, let's just get the left fielder. Not something I normally do, but let's see. Not something I normally do, but his overall is pretty high, so I don't feel that bad about it. And that second baseman I scout actually ended up being pretty good. And he's a blue chip, which means his potential is probably crazy high. I've started to learn that those blue chip prospects, they made it really good. Oh, somebody drafted that second baseman, Basil Simmons, that I wanted. Okay, anybody else that I want? Oh, Kurt Meyer's still there. That was the pitcher I was going to get, so we'll get Kurt Meyer now, which is a quality pitcher. This has actually been a really, really tough rebuild. I'm telling you guys right now, this has been really tough. Oh, Kenny Salas is still there. Okay, this has been a draft class for me. This has actually been going really well this year. That's 3 quality picks. Well, I get. Oh, John Ramirez is still there. He's a for sure thing. Or I can try to get lucky. Sometimes I get really lucky, as you guys remember. This guy could be really good. We'll try to get lucky with this left fielder. I know I already drafted one that 1st round, that 4th overall pick. But why not try to get lucky with a few players here? We need a second baseman. Let's see if we can get lucky with one. That's really all this comes down to, is luck. And I'd rather hopefully get really lucky than get a for sure above average player. Rather get lucky with a superstar, you know. So that was my decision a few rounds ago. Choosing not to get that starting pitcher. This guy's a very early ETA, so he could end up being pretty good. So that's our 3rd left fielder of the draft. I know you guys are probably thinking like, damn, gonna have some left fielder depth, but whatever. We need to get a reliever here. We'll get this guy. He's already 25 years old, so he better be decent. It's the last round, so why not worry? I don't care that much about how old he is, as long as he's decent, and he's not. So David Quintana is a 92 overall. And he was a 60 overall, like I was kind of predicting. Kurt Meyer is pretty good. So is Kenny Salas. And Gonzalez guy's pretty good at second base. These left fielders didn't pan out that well, but Um, like I said, that fielder's pretty good. Any crazy prospects that we missed out on? These guys have high potential, but Alvin Levy's the guy I think I was gonna get. He was really good, but closer not quite as worth it. No, just a really weak draft class, to be honest. So we got probably the best player in the draft class, just a weak draft class. So man, I don't know what to do. I guess we'll sim another season towards the end of minor leagues. I'll show you guys some minor league stats, and we'll just keep working on this. But this is a really long rebuild. It's a lot of work, so I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, guys, here we are at the end of the minor league season. Let's take a quick second here to look at some of the stats. Alfonso Espinosa finished 10-10 with a 2.25 ERA. Phenomenal year for Espinosa here in AAA. Looking like a potential call-up at least. He'll probably be in the lineup or in the pitching rotation for next season. Just 22 years old. Next up, we got Roy Spain, 7-13 with 4.29 ERA. We'll probably give him a chance in the major leagues next season, but he didn't necessarily earn it a whole lot. Not a great ERA. Out of the bullpen, we got Eric Hammock, who we also drafted a few years ago. Hasn't really developed that quickly, so I don't see a lot of potential for him, but he's doing all right. And AA, I don't know if we have any pitchers down here. This Jason Grom guy's supposed to be so good, and I have not done anything with him because he's not part of our rebuild. Hernandez had another great year off the bullpen. Remember, we got him a few years ago. I think in our first year as a reliever. He's pretty good. I'll probably let him be in the bullpen next year too, because I'm just trying to make it so we have all 10 players that we need. The lineup wise, Machado was a 97 overall, now batted .312. Vasquez was he was an all-star player in just his second season. 23 home runs, a .288 batting average. I expected more home runs. He had less RBIs than last season and 140 more at-bats. But he had way more runs, way more hits. I don't know how he had less RBIs. It's weird. More stolen bases. He had a worse OPS, so that's probably part of it. He had a better average, but he wasn't happy swinging for as much power. Stole some bases. Fielding percentage was all right, 994. His WAR was 4.5. That's pretty impressive for his age, I gotta say. Snow had a good year too. Buxton's getting really good, at least overall wise. We can keep him out in center field. Linder led the league in something. I don't know what it was, but we can go check that. If he's a league leader, you can tell by the crown next to his name for you guys who don't know what that crown represents. Wasn't stolen bases. He was second in that. What did he lead the league in then? Or was it just glitch? Whatever. Manny Machado actually led the league in WAR. Let's see. He's nowhere on MVP voting though, just because he's on such a shitty team, aka us. We're a little bit better than we were. We have about the 4th pick this year, so we're getting a few points better every year. It's just tough getting all 10 of those players up to the major leagues, but yeah, you saw a look at all the players' stats, I believe. Is there anybody I'm missing out on? We had Fiore. Anybody else that I'm missing out on? We've drafted so much that it's hard to remember like every single player. There's bound to be some guys that I'm missing out on. I'll skip those. Sort. I guess if we look at the youngest players, we'll kind of know that they were drafted by us. So this guy did not do that good for us. Roy Spain's still one of the youngest players on our team for how good he is. So I guess it's kind of impressive. Anybody else? Let's see. Yeah, Espinosa's still really young too. It's really good too. And Vasquez is crazy good for his age. Fiore needs to get better. We drafted him really early too. We drafted this right fielder, I think, Kroloff. It's pretty good. Obviously, Bobby Hernandez. The rest of these guys are not that big a deal, but man, season by season, this is just getting tougher and tougher. So actually, I've realized we have a month left. So actually, I couldn't fully dictate our catcher's power numbers yet. I keep forgetting his name, Vasquez, I believe his name is. I wanted him to hit 30 home runs this season, but he has a whole month left to try to get that. He had 23, I think. So if he hit 7 in a season, or in a month, which is still really impressive, we could be looking at him possibly hitting 30 on the season. Let's see. Manny Machado having a great year, like I said. Buxton had a pretty good year. Snow finished off really well. Vasquez finished with 32 home runs, so he had a phenomenal second half of the season, or last month of the season's OPS went up by about 30 points in the last month. That's awesome. His stats didn't get that much better. Hey, but even if he stops producing now at 91 overall as a catcher at 22 years old, and he's hitting 32 home runs, batting 290 as a catcher, we probably got the best catcher in the league right now. So I'm not complaining. And then Linder, pretty good season out of our shortstop. Pierre got called up. He only had 10 at-bats in the majors, and didn't do a lot with them. Still needs a lot of time to develop, but he'll get there. That's one thing I remember. He was a pretty slow rebuild project, if I remember correctly. But hopefully he'll rebuild or get a little bit better over the offseason. Maybe we'll get lucky. So that being the case, we're probably going to sim to the next season. Like I said, not doing anything offseason. One thing I'm going to be doing is trades, just so I don't have to give up any compensatory picks. So we're going to move on to the next season, close to the next draft, and we'll see what happens. Okay, guys, we are now towards season 5 or 6, I think, with our team. I think it's now time that we may have to bend the rules a little bit. Now, originally when we started this series, we said that we would require 10 players throughout either our rotation, our bullpen, and our lineup. I did not fully understand how ridiculously difficult that would be. Right now we have Fiore, Vasquez, Gonzalez is the second baseman we drafted. He developed really quick. What the heck? He's 19 is a 76 overall. Okay, so Gonzalez, Vasquez, Fiore, Linder. I don't think we drafted any of these guys. Unless you want to count a Rule 5 guys. Then we have 4. And drafting, so we have 4 in there. 5 with Espinoza. 6 with Roy Spain. 7 with Hernandez. And we need 10. I don't know how we're going to get 3 more prospects up there. When we look at our roster, we don't have 3 guys anywhere close. We have Hammock, we drafted a few years ago. And if everything goes perfect, we can put him in the major leagues right now and we'd have 8. We'd really have to force a call-up if we want anybody else playing. We would need to force Quintana, who we just drafted, to go all the way up into the major leagues. And we would need to... If we did those 2 moves, that'd be 9. I guess would be bullshit or a reliever. Okay, no, let's try this. I said we go for it this year. I mean, nothing can really go that wrong by us doing this, so. Hammock out of 40-man roster. Moved to MLB. Let's see, anybody that should not be here. Kyle Gibson. Removed from 40-man roster. Get him off the team. Pitching rotation. Hammock can just come out of the bullpen. That still counts. I don't want him to be one of the starters. But now we have a lot of talent here. And what we need to do now is we need to call up Quintana. And to keep it fair, he has to actually be in the lineup. It's going to kill his development, but let's just check the top prospects right now. We have 4 of the top 5 prospects right now. Quintana, Groom, Espinoza, and Fiore. Groom we can't use because we didn't draft him. Right? That's a real prospect. I need to look him up. I definitely don't think we drafted this guy. Yeah, no, he's a real player. Okay, got Nick Gordon, and we have Roy Spain. We have all these guys. So what I'm thinking we need to do is Obviously, first off, gotta get. This is such a bad idea. Let Quintana swing the bat at the major league level. At what? How old is he? 21's not that crazy, but as a rookie, and he's not really that polished. This is a bad idea. So we'll just move him at the bottom of the lineup everywhere. So we still have a really good lineup though with these guys. So now it comes down to smart trades. I think now we have 9 guys. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 guys in the lineup that we drafted. That's pretty impressive. 6, 7, 8, 9. So we need one more. Here's where things get interesting. We got Kurt Myers going to be developing, and he might be pretty decent. Don't want to call him up just yet, though. I think the best way for us to cheat the system would be to call up Kevin Esposito. I think we drafted a while ago, right? We didn't draft a closer. Moved to MLB from single A. He's going to be so confused. Poor Esposito. Then drop that guy. Esposito's in the lineup. And now we have 10 players. But we won't be good enough to make a World Series team yet. So now is when the actual trades come in. We have some prospects that obviously we drafted over the years, and this is where this actually comes in handy. So we have some talent. Good enough to get quite a few players in the league. We can get a Xander Bogaerts, but we don't want a Xander Bogaerts. We need a... What's a position that... Okay, we need pitching then, because we kind of need all these. The only position, like every position that's not that great, is either by a really good player or it's a player that we need to have playing because he's one of our rookies that we drafted, or one of the guys that we drafted. So what we need is pitching. Fulmer's coming off a great year. Strasburg's probably been killing it. Probably have tons of money too when I think about it. I want to find somebody who just has had amazing years. Kershaw obviously always does, but he's 33 years old now. Urias is 88. This is a guy that it looks like the Padres drafted. They would trade us him, along with some top-notch relievers, which is something we need. Might not be all that good yet, but it will give us some potential for the future. Oh, come on. Okay, we take out Carter Capps, they're down. I want some other prospects that we can trade. We can trade Berrios now, along with this Rule 5 prospect, as well as... Who do we not need? I think we don't need Rosario anymore. Look at your guys' pitching rotation. Do you really need to be so greedy? Just give me Bumgarner, come on. Who needs him? But I wouldn't mind a Johnny Cueto. But Bumgarner's by far the youngest. So we need to trade him some extra. We need to trade him a good prospect. Oh, nice Espinosa, he's too good. Three pitchers. Who puts it way overboard that we can trade? Maybe, or is he just not the guy? Is there anybody better than Bumgarner right now? Tanaka's coming off 2 great years. He's only 32. Oh, come on. I need Hammock. Oh, I need that reliever too, probably. Anybody else who's been having great years? Odorizzi, pretty consistently good years. Tyan's been pretty good. I don't know what the best option. Oh, Kluber's been really good. But he's 34. Why is everybody so old? All the good pitchers got really old. Obviously, I need one of those pitchers that's good during simulations too. Noah Syndergaard's been doing great the past 2 years. We add. Yeah, we have this Rule 5 player. No, come on. Nobody's willing to give me any awesome players. Oh, Chris Sale would be sick. This one might actually have to trade some big stuff for it, and Wimmer's actually isn't that good, so I don't know why I keep trying to use him in trade talk. I already traded basically all my prospects. Ray's not coming off a good year. Dejan Walker's been pretty awesome. We can get him for not that much too. We can trade almost nothing. Maybe they'll be cool about it. No, they're not down. What the hell? Why is nobody down to a trade? Oh my, I hated that bad. Cueto's just too old. Come on, give me somebody. Do we take a risk on Severino? I mean, nobody wants anybody on our team for some reason. Oh, it's probably because that stupid glitch where you can't do too many trades in a row. Oh, but I still need a scout. God damn it. Okay. We can't sim that much then. Only a couple of games. 2-1. Espinosa had a good first game. Jeez. Okay, is that his debut too? I just realized it's kind of weird to debut as an ace. It doesn't happen very often. Okay. Espinosa didn't give up a hit. Okay, I'm getting excited about this team. Did he get injured that early? Come on, give me something. Something's got to give. No, not with him, I guess. I don't need to do more scouting, I don't think. I think at this point it's all about something I'm gonna do is at this point turn scouting to auto. So I think we already got all the prospects we need. So we'll sim to a certain point. We're actually winning a lot of games. We're 11-1. What the heck? Are you kidding me with this team? Alfonso Espinosa's been doing great. This guy's been doing god awful. Roy Spain's not been doing that bad, but I mean, his ERA has always been awful. Fernando Romero's doing good. Barrios has been doing alright, I guess. Espinoza off. He's supposed to be a starter. He is, isn't he? We got Anderson and Alfonso Espinoza. Do we draft both these guys? They're both out of Cuba. They're like the same player. The same height. This or I think the game's glitched. I think they accidentally gave us two of the same players, just different names. I think this might have messed up a little bit. Dude, no way. They got like very similar stats too. Okay, do we give this guy a chance? No. Okay, well this guy's struggling, so yeah, we'll give him a chance. Bobby Hernandez. Okay. I don't know how the hell that happened. I don't know how we're 11-1. Fiore's batting 326. How's he an 81 overall? What the hell? Okay, well I guess he's just really happy to be in the major leagues. Buxton's batting 311. Machal's batting 468. Sano's batting 375. I know it's so early in the season, but I'm still freaking out. No, Quintana has to be in the lineup to make this fair. Right? That's part of the deal of how we're going to do things. There's not a lot I can do, though, if they keep changing him out, but I know that's part of the deal to make this fair, even though this is going to probably ruin our chances. 10 might be too many, though. 10 might be too many players. I mean, this is the first time doing this, though, so it's hard to... I don't know how this is supposed to work just yet. So we're 11-1, so I'm not going to consider any trades just yet. Now we're 18-3. Until it becomes apparent that a trade is necessary, I'm not going to do any. Anderson or Alfonso Espinoza. They're both 3-0, except his ERA is .66. Oh my goodness, his ERA is 5.59. So one's been kind of increasing, one's been kind of doing a little bit worse. The starters overall are undefeated though. 3-0, 3-0, 2-0, 2-0. Who's the last starter? Did he get injured? Esposito was sent down. No, you can't send him down. You can't send Eric Hammock down either. The game does not understand the idea of what I need to do here. Let me see. I need to turn those. Oh, it's probably because I have those most specific options. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, I don't. I'm in control of the roster moves. So I don't see why they're able to do that for me. He should be in the majors. And we need to call someone down. So he's reactivated. Man. I'll figure it out. We need Esposito in the major leagues too. Even though, yeah, I didn't get any playing time. You're at 7.5. Yeah, we can calm him down. Okay, I just need them to understand. The game can't possibly understand. Look, everybody's on a hot streak. The game can't possibly understand what's going on and why I'm doing my lineup like this and why everything's going on. But David Quintana's supposed to be bad too. He's got a lot of potential. Remember, he's got great potential, but he was not supposed to be this good this early on. He's already batting 333 and 48 at bats. It's awesome. Let's keep this going. Obviously, it's a little bit nerve-wracking watching this sim. You never know what's going to happen. But we're 29-9. Espinoza is 4-1. The 5.85 is pretty high. Anderson Espinoza hasn't won a game since, but the ERA is still really low. Romero started losing. Roy Spain still on the cold streak. I mean, okay, our starters started getting cold a little bit. This guy's functioning all right as a reliever. Hammock's doing great. Oh my God, 5-0 is a .4 ERA as a reliever. I don't want to put him in a starter role if he's doing that good off the relieving role, but I feel like he deserves it a little bit. Bobby Hernandez has thrown 9 perfect, or not perfect innings, but scoreless innings in all of his time. I mean, these Espinosa hasn't had a chance, but that's kind of the idea. But oh my goodness, I almost want to put Hammock in the starting lineup, but I don't want to ruin how good he is as a reliever. So he might be more essential there. Fiore's batting 352, Buxton's batting 290, 345 from Machado, 389 from Sano, 277 from Vasquez. Quintana's batting 293. I just don't understand that with his overall, but I guess if you can hit the ball, you can hit the ball. Look at these back-to-back games. 14-3 win here. Some big RBIs from a lot of players. Machado, Linder, Rosario. Quintana had a good game. Obviously, every once in a while, we got to have our... It looks like we got a few guys off the bench who are batting that game. This game, Fiore went 5 for 6 with 4 RBIs. And Machado went 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. So Fiore was kind of the player of the game that game. He had 2 home runs. Oh my goodness, I just love this team. Let's just look at awards for a second. Give yourself an idea. Okay, Kenny Fiore. It's only this is technically his rookie season. Technically his rookie season. The guy I said was going to be like Mookie Betts. The guy I think I took with like the 4th overall pick. Technically his rookie season because he only played 5 games last year. I don't even think he was considered eligible. Yeah, he's still eligible for Rookie of the Year and MVP, batting 366. Miguel Sano's 3rd. Espinosa. After a few rough seasons in San Diego, when we traded for him, he's now having a Cy Young year. I'm loving this. We have the reliever of the year. This team is working out way too well for me. I feel like I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like something's bound to go wrong. Cause like how are we doing this good with this roster? So first year player draft. I'm still in control of the drafting. I just didn't control the scouting. I'll just trust one of these. We don't need a guy with a super long ETA, so we might as well get a dominant closer now, which is something I was going to really wait on doing. And now I don't need to do the rest of the draft. 92 potential, we'll draft him, or sign him, obviously. And the reason I'm getting him is because if we have to do another season after this, in case anything goes wrong this season, at least we have one guy who can definitively like be a major league quality player by next year. Oh my god, another back-to-back games of high scoring. You see against the A's, 15-2, then 14-5. They got some pitching issues they got to work out over there. Let's go check out how these games went. Big games from Machado and Sano, 4 RBIs each, and then this game. These big games, I'm sorry, I get really excited about the stats. I'm really excited about everything throughout this whole entire process. Alfonso Espinosa is 10-2. Anderson Espinosa is 6-3. Roy Spain's always been able to win games. The ERA has always been awful, but if you win games, it works. Eric Hammock's still dominating. He's 10-3 with a 1.83 ERA out of a relieving role. He's got as many wins as our ace, and he's a reliever. So he's about to win the Cy Young Award as a reliever. Probably. I don't know. I mean, let's see. Oh, no. Fiore is 2nd for MVP now. And it's something I need to check. Why has our closer been out for so long? Oh, God. So our very dominant closer's been out basically this whole entire season too, and he probably will be out the whole entire season, and we still have been dominating. Oh yeah, he's gone this whole season. Yeah, he's gone. And we still have been dominating even without him, so that's a great sign. Even Vasquez is struggling, so the fact that we're doing this good without some of our star players makes me very happy. So I guess rebuilding through the draft might be the strongest way to rebuild a team. It takes a little bit longer, and I guarantee you it took me a lot more work and time and effort. This is, I edited it down a lot, but we're about 4 hours in right now. Believe it or not, that's how much non-stop work I've had to put into all the drafts and everything. It's very late, my throat's very tired. Been doing a lot of talking throughout this whole thing. Oh, don't tell me. Those losing streaks are always random. I don't want to go. No, 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 no. Don't give me one of those second half losing streaks. We have a young team, so a second half losing streak makes sense. They're probably getting really tired. Wait, somebody won a championship? Is that what they said? Double A championship. There we go. We're 98 and 56. Oh god, look at the second team in our division. It has only 71 wins. We're the best team in the league right now, record-wise. Espinosa is 14-8. The other Espinosa is 14-7. 10-10 from Romero. 16-3 from Spain. With a 3.3 ERA. So the ERA has not only gone down, but the win-loss has stayed that good. Eric Hammock is 17-6 out of the bullpen with a 3.37. I'm glad I didn't put him in the rotation because he's doing that good out of the bullpen. How do you have 17 wins out of the bullpen? That doesn't even sound physically possible. Andreas Vasquez is now second in MVP voting, so our catcher, the guy who we got the first overall pick in the first year, is now a 95 overall. And he's where he needs to be. He's getting paid like no money, which is kind of funny. So we kind of really finessed the system on that one. Royce Payne first in his rookie season, first for Cy Young, and all three of the guys for Rookie of the Year are on our team because we called up so many rookies this year and they've been dominating. Even Bobby Hernandez has been doing phenomenal. Esposito, his overall is horrible, but he's still doing great. I'm loving this team. $101.61. We didn't have a great second half of the season either. Still, we got the best record in the MLB, one game above the Dodgers. In the first round, we'll be playing the Toronto Blue Jays. And wow, it's coming down to Game 5. We have Jose Barrios going up against Marcus Stroman. Do I want to put my ace back on the mound actually for this game? Probably. AL Rookie of the Year is Roy Spain. We weren't able to win any of these big awards, but that's alright. It happens. We'll check their season stats in a second. I'm more concerned with playoffs right now. I guess we can do we let Jose Barrios pitch this game? That's the question. He didn't have a good season. All these guys had better seasons. I feel like... Okay, I feel like we let Jose Barrios pitch that game. I just kind of, last second, I was like, maybe we just let it happen. And it ends up working out for us. So we'll keep moving on. Next series, we're going against the New York Yankees in the American League Championship Series. Wow, an early 2-0 lead. The benefit of not using our ace in this game is now that we're able to use him in this game, and we're going to come out winning 11-1. 5 for 5 from Machado, 4 RBIs from Vargas, a 3 for 4 2 RBI game from Vasquez, 2 home runs from Vargas. That's an awesome game for us. We're up 3. Okay, we're up 3-1. 3-2. But we are now the home team for back-to-back games with our aces on the mound. Don't tell me. Oh my goodness. I can't believe we blew a 3-1 lead. Oh, there's so much criticism that's going to come because of that. You know what happens if you blow 3-1 leads. We've seen the whole entire jokes that have happened to the Cleveland Indians and the Golden State Warriors. I don't want to be like one of those teams. But now we're going to go to the Yankees. We're going to show them play the Dodgers. And the Yankees will beat the Dodgers 5-4 in Game 7. That's like a 1950s matchup. And oddly enough, I'll have to say that this will be the end of the rebuild. I know that's kind of random. And it may maybe a shocker. Some of you guys might be upset. But I think we need to call this the end of the rebuild. I think we've rebuilt this team. We can keep going into this, but part of it is that I've already spent 4.5 hours on this team, and that's a lot of time for one episode. I'll be honest, it's a little bit degrading. But secondly, I mean, we rebuilt this team. This team is very good now. With how young this team is and all the talent on this team, look at this guy, Andres Vasquez, this catcher, gonna be one of the greatest of all time probably. This team's lined up to be a World Series contender for years and years and years and years. You know, if you guys enjoy this video so much, I'll do a secondary part to this series, or just to this episode, and go, it'll be like the what ends up happening series. And I'll do like 15 years of simming and show you guys what each of these players turns into, what happens with their careers. If you guys are interested in that's something I might consider doing, just because I'm actually partially interested in what these guys' careers have in store. But regardless of that, yeah, we're done. This team is, like I said, it's where it needs to be. So without further ado, that's the end of the episode, and that's the end of this rebuild. If you guys enjoyed a rebuild like this, tell me, because I actually very much enjoyed this, and I think this might be what I consider doing in the future when it comes to the 30-1 rank rebuild. I know it's not necessarily the most fascinating or crazy or super entertaining a series like trading for all these superstars like most of their series do, but I think this is a little bit more genuine and a more realistic of a process when it comes to rebuilding a team, and it's more what is to be expected if you are a general manager trying to rebuild a professional sports team. So that's what you guys enjoyed seeing, and that's what you guys enjoy watching. Tell me, I'll do a little bit more of this in the future. And yeah, so mainly that just happens if you guys like the video. I'll know how much you guys enjoyed it. Comment down your opinions. You know I like to get back to your guys' comments as much as possible. Sometimes I get busy and caught up a little bit, but if you guys have anything to say, I'll be happy to respond. And lastly, subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned to this series and other series I got going on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.